Dr. Hana sits in the sterile white medical chamber, her crystalline skin reflecting the harsh lights like a living diamond. The news from the Interstellar Medical Council hits her like a meteor strike. Her genetic code is breaking down, cell by cell, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. 30 Earth days, the holographic doctor repeats, its emotionless voice echoing in the chamber. I'm sorry, Dr. Velthari. The degradation has reached critical levels. Hana's people, the Veltar, don't cry. They don't feel sadness the way humans do. But something cold spreads through her chest as she processes the information. She's only 127 years old, practically a child by her species standards. She should have centuries ahead of her. For years, Hana has dedicated her life to studying other species, particularly humans. While her fellow Veltar scientists focused on technology and physics, she became fascinated by something her people considered primitive and illogical: human emotions and their strange mating rituals. The Veltar reproduce through genetic synthesis. Two individuals contribute their biological data to a central computer, which creates offspring in laboratory chambers. No touching, no emotional connection, no messy feelings involved. It's efficient, logical, and completely sterile. But humans do something extraordinary. They create new life through an act of love, passion, and deep emotional bonding. Hana has spent countless hours studying their behavior, reading their literature, watching their films. The concept of making love instead of simply reproducing has always puzzled and intrigued her. Now facing her own mortality, a wild idea forms in her crystalline mind. I want to make a request, she tells the medical council the next day. Her voice carries an unusual tremor that surprises even her. The council members, all glowing crystalline beings like herself, turn their attention to her. Their leader, Elder Zenth, speaks first. What is your final wish, young researcher? Hana takes what humans would call a deep breath. I want to experience human reproduction methods before I die. The silence that follows is deafening. Several council members' crystal bodies flicker with what Hana recognizes as shock. Elder Zenth's glow dims significantly. You want to mate with a human? Elder Zenth asks, struggling with the very concept. Not just the physical act, Hana explains quickly. I want to understand their emotional bonding process, their courtship rituals, the feelings they call love and intimacy. I've studied it for years, but I've never experienced it. The council erupts in concerned chatter. The Veltar language sounds like wind chimes in a storm when they're agitated. Some council members suggest that the genetic degradation has affected Hana's mental state. Others call her request dangerous and potentially contaminating to their species' purity. But Hana stands firm. This is my final scientific experiment, she says. If I'm going to die, I want to understand the one thing about humans that has always fascinated me most. Elder Zenth considers this for a long moment. The request is unprecedented, shocking, and goes against everything their species believes about reproduction and emotional control. But Hana is a respected scientist, and dying beings are traditionally granted their final wishes. We will contact the human embassy, Elder Zenth finally announces, but we cannot guarantee they will agree to such an unusual arrangement. As Hana leaves the council chamber, her crystalline skin pulses with something she's never felt before. Hope mixed with fear. She's about to embark on the most dangerous and important research of her life, with only 30 days to discover what it truly means to be human. Commander Ji-hoon Park stares at the classified message on his screen, reading it for the third time. The request seems impossible, almost absurd. A dying alien scientist wants to experience human love and intimacy before her death, and the embassy needs a volunteer. His colleagues think he's lost his mind when he steps forward. Are you seriously considering this? Asks Dr. Minji, the embassy's chief medical officer. Ji-hoon, this could destroy your career. Both governments are against it. Ji-hoon runs his hand through his black hair, a nervous habit he's had since childhood. She's dying, Minji. She has 30 days left, and this is her final wish. How can we say no? The embassy conference room buzzes with heated arguments. Human officials worry about diplomatic disasters and ethical nightmares. Some call it inappropriate. Others label it dangerous. But Ji-hoon sees something different in Hana's request, pure scientific curiosity mixed with the very human desire to understand love before death. His background in xenopsychology gives him unique insight into alien minds. Before becoming a diplomat, he spent years studying how different species process emotions and relationships. The Veltar have always fascinated him because they're brilliant yet emotionally hollow. I studied their species for my doctorate, Ji-hoon explains to the room. They reproduce like machines. 2 Veltar exchange genetic data through computers, and babies grow in artificial chambers. No touching, no feelings, no connection. Imagine living your entire life without ever experiencing love, and then facing death while wondering what you missed. Ambassador Chen, his superior, shakes her head. This isn't about science, Ji-hoon. This is about a dying alien wanting to mate with a human. The media will destroy us. It's not about mating, Ji-hoon insists. She wants to understand emotional bonding, the courtship process, what we call falling in love. She's a scientist studying the one thing her species has never experienced. After hours of debate, the embassy reluctantly agrees to let Ji-hoon proceed, with strict conditions and constant monitoring. His first meeting with Hana takes place in a neutral chamber between the human and Veltar sections of the embassy. When she enters, Ji-hoon is struck by her ethereal beauty. Her crystalline skin catches the light like a living prism, and her large, luminous eyes hold an intelligence that seems to pierce through everything. "Commander Park," she says, her voice carrying a musical quality that all Veltar possess. "Thank you for volunteering for this experiment." Ji-hoon notices how she calls it an experiment. Everything is clinical and scientific to her species. "Please call me Ji-hoon. And this isn't just an experiment, Hana. What you're asking to experience is the most fundamental part of being human." Hana tilts her head, a gesture that reminds him oddly of a curious bird. "I don't understand the distinction." "That's exactly what we need to work on," Ji-hoon says gently. "Love isn't something you can study in a laboratory or learn from textbooks. It's something you feel." Over the following days, they meet for hours. Ji-hoon starts with the basics, explaining why humans hold hands, why they look into each other's eyes, why they enjoy sharing meals together. Hana takes detailed notes, treating each interaction like a scientific observation. "Your species wastes significant time on inefficient bonding rituals," she observes after their third meeting. "The reproduction process could be completed in minutes, yet you spend months or years on courtship." Ji-hoon laughs, a sound that makes Hana's crystalline skin flicker with curiosity. "We don't see it as waste. We see it as the best part of being alive." As they continue their daily sessions, Ji-hoon realizes he's not just teaching Hana about human love, he's also learning to see his own species through alien eyes. Her questions challenge everything he's taken for granted about relationships, intimacy, and what it means to connect with another being. Hana arrives at their fourth meeting carrying a digital tablet and wearing what looks like a medical scanner around her wrist. Ji-hoon can't help but smile at her scientific approach to something as natural as human connection. "Today I want to document the hand-holding procedure," she announces, settling into her chair with the mechanical precision typical of her species. "My research indicates this is a primary bonding ritual among humans." Ji-hoon tries not to laugh. "Hana, it's not a procedure, it's just holding hands." "But why?" she asks, genuinely puzzled. "Your hands serve no reproductive function. The contact provides no genetic material exchange. What is the logical purpose?" Instead of explaining, Ji-hoon extends his hand across the small table between them. "Sometimes the best way to understand something is to experience it." Hana stares at his outstretched hand, like it's a dangerous alien artifact. After a moment, she carefully places her crystalline fingers against his palm. Her skin feels cool and smooth like polished stone, but there's a subtle vibration running through it, almost like a gentle electrical current. "Interesting," she murmurs, studying their joined hands. "I detect elevated electromagnetic activity in your nervous system. Your heart rate has increased by 12%. How does it make you feel? Ji-hoon asks softly. Hana pauses, clearly struggling with the question. Feel. There's a warmth spreading through my arm. My crystal matrix is resonating at a frequency I've never experienced before. For the first time since they've been meeting, she's not taking notes. The next day, Ji-hoon suggests they share a meal instead of sitting in the sterile meeting room. He takes her to the embassy's garden cafeteria, where earth plants grow under artificial sunlight. Food consumption is typically a solitary activity for efficiency, Hana observes, as they sit at a small table surrounded by flowering plants. Why do humans eat together? Because sharing food is sharing life, Ji-hoon explains, cutting into his sandwich and offering her half. We talk, we laugh, we connect. It's not about efficiency, it's about enjoyment. Hana carefully examines the sandwich, like she's studying a geological sample. When she takes a small bite, her eyes widen with surprise. The flavors are complex, multiple sensory experiences occurring simultaneously. Ji-hoon watches her face as she chews thoughtfully. For just a moment, her crystalline skin seems to shimmer with a faint golden light. Tell me about your childhood, he says, trying to steer the conversation away from scientific observations. Childhood is a period of data acquisition and skill development, Hana replies automatically, then pauses. But I remember playing with light crystals in my family's learning chamber. I would create patterns and watch them dance on the walls. That sounds beautiful. Did it make you happy? Hana sets down the sandwich, looking confused. Happy? The memory produces a positive resonance in my consciousness. Is that happiness? When Ji-hoon nods, something extraordinary happens. Hana's skin begins to glow with a soft, warm light that pulses gently like a heartbeat. Other diners in the cafeteria turn to look, mesmerized by the beautiful display. What's happening to me? Hana asks, staring at her glowing hands. You're feeling joy, Ji-hoon says, his voice filled with wonder. Your body is expressing emotion. The next week, they take walks through the embassy's corridors. Hana asks endless questions about human behavior. Why people smile at each other, why they say please and thank you, why they sometimes touch each other's shoulders during conversation. During one of their walks, Ji-hoon tells her a funny story about his first diplomatic mission. When he reaches the punchline, Hana makes a sound he's never heard from a Veltar before, a musical, chiming laugh that seems to come from deep within her crystalline structure. That was pleasant, she says, looking surprised at her own reaction. The story served no informational purpose, yet it created positive sensations. That's called humor, Ji-hoon explains. We laugh because it feels good, not because it's logical. Hana's glow intensifies and she stops walking. Ji-hoon, I think I'm beginning to understand. When humans say making love, they don't mean the physical act of reproduction. They mean creating these feelings, this warmth, this light, this joy. Now you're getting it, Ji-hoon says, feeling a strange warmth in his own chest as he watches her discover emotions for the first time. Neither of them realizes that their simple walks and conversations are about to change both their species for two. Weeks into their daily meetings, Ji-hoon arrives carrying a small bouquet of white roses from the embassy garden. Hana stares at the flowers with complete bewilderment. These are reproductive organs of earth plants, she states matter-of-factly. Why are you presenting them to me? Ji-hoon can't help but grin. On Earth, we give flowers to someone we care about. It's a way of saying you're beautiful and special. Hana carefully takes the bouquet, examining each petal with scientific precision. But they will die within days. This seems wasteful. That's exactly the point, Ji-hoon explains. Beautiful things don't last forever, which makes them more precious, like our time together. Something flickers across Hana's crystalline features, an expression Ji-hoon has never seen before. Her skin dims slightly, and for a moment she looks almost sad. 22 days remaining, she whispers, more to herself than to him. The next day, Ji-hoon brings a small music player to their meeting. Today we're going to try something different, he says, selecting a gentle classical piece. Close your eyes and just listen. As the music fills the room, Hana's entire body begins to resonate with the melody. Her crystalline structure picks up the sound waves and amplifies them, creating a beautiful harmonic effect that makes the simple piece sound like a full orchestra. "I can feel the music inside me," she says, her eyes still closed. "It's creating patterns in my neural network that serve no logical function, yet they're beautiful." "That's what music is supposed to do," Ji-hoon says. "It speaks to your soul, not your brain." When a slower song begins, Ji-hoon stands and extends his hand. "Would you like to learn how humans dance?" Hana hesitates. "I don't understand the purpose." Tove synchronized movement to rhythm. "There is no purpose," Ji-hoon says. "That's what makes it wonderful." As they move together slowly, Hana's scientific observations gradually fade away. She stops analyzing and starts feeling. Her crystalline skin pulses with warm light in time with the music, and for the first time in her life, she experiences what humans call being in the moment. "Why does this feel so right?" she asks as they sway together. "Because connection is universal," Ji-hoon replies. "Your species just forgot how to feel it." Their conversations begin to shift from clinical observations to personal stories. Hana tells him about her childhood fascination with Earth's quantum mechanics, how she dreamed of visiting planets with different physical laws. Ji-hoon shares his own dreams of exploring distant galaxies and meeting new civilizations. "I used to imagine what it would be like to think like other species," Hana confesses one day. "But my people said such thoughts were illogical distractions." "Your people were wrong," Ji-hoon says firmly. "Curiosity and wonder are the most logical things in the universe. They drive all discovery." Hana begins teaching Ji-hoon about Veltar science, their mastery of quantum biology, their ability to manipulate matter at the subatomic level, their philosophy of perfect logical harmony. But as she explains their achievements, Ji-hoon notices something troubling. "You have incredible technology, but you sound lonely when you talk about your people," he observes. Hana's glow dims. "Loneliness is an inefficient emotion. We eliminated it from our society millennia ago. But you feel it now, don't you?" For a long moment, Hana doesn't answer. When she finally speaks, her voice carries a tremor. "Yes. I've been lonely my entire life. I just didn't have a word for it until now." Their growing connection doesn't go unnoticed. Elder Zenth summons Hana to the Veltar Council chamber, where her people wait with obvious concern. "Dr. Velthari, your recent behavioral patterns indicate severe emotional contamination," Elder Zenth announces. "Your crystalline matrix is exhibiting unstable energy fluctuations. This human interaction is damaging your mental clarity." "I'm not damaged," Hana protests, her skin flaring with newfound defiance. "I'm discovering what it means to truly live." "You are dying," another council member states coldly. "These emotional disturbances are accelerating your genetic degradation. We must terminate this experiment immediately." "No!" The word erupts from Hana with such force that several council members' crystals flicker with shock. "I have 8 days left. I won't spend them returning to emptiness." As she storms out of the council chamber, Hana realizes she's just experienced her first moment of genuine anger, and it felt absolutely liberating. The emergency meeting happens at dawn. Ambassador Chen storms into the conference room, her face tight with anger, while holographic representatives from the Veltar Council flicker ominously on the main screen. "This has gone too far," Chen announces, slamming a datapad onto the table. "The media got wind of the story. Earth Central Command is furious and the Veltar are threatening to cut all diplomatic ties." Ji-hoon sits quietly as the storm rages around him. On the holographic display, Elder Zenth's crystalline form pulses with cold light. "The human has corrupted our researcher beyond repair," Elder Zenth declares. "Dr. Velthari exhibited aggressive behavior toward the council yesterday." She raised her voice. She refused direct orders. "This emotional contamination threatens our entire species." Dr. Minji pulls up Hana's latest medical scans. Her cellular degradation has actually slowed since beginning the emotional bonding process. "The readings don't match what you're claiming." "Irrelevant," Elder Zenth responds coldly. "We are ordering immediate termination of the arrangement and expedited euthanasia." "The contamination must not spread," Chen nods grimly. "Agreed. Commander Park, you're hereby ordered to cease all contact with the subject. Return to your regular duties immediately. Ji-hoon stands slowly, his jaw set with determination. No. The room falls silent. Chen's eyes widen in disbelief. Excuse me? I said no, Ji-hoon repeats, his voice steady. Hana is not a subject or an experiment. She's a living being with the right to choose how she spends her final days, and I won't abandon her now. You're relieved of duty, Commander, Chen says, sharply. Security will escort you to quarters pending disciplinary action. But when security arrives, they find Ji-hoon's room empty. Deep in the embassy's maintenance tunnels, Ji-hoon meets with an unlikely group of allies. Dr. Minji is there, along with several human technicians who've been quietly following Hana's story. To everyone's surprise, 3 Veltar scientists have also arrived. Younger members of their species who've been secretly questioning their rigid emotional suppression. We've been watching the data, says Dr. Kyung, one of the Veltar rebels. The emotional resonance patterns Hana is exhibiting aren't random. They're creating new neural pathways, actually strengthening her biological systems. The Council fears change above all else, adds another Veltar scientist. They've suppressed emotions for so long they've forgotten that feelings once made our species stronger. Dr. Minji pulls up a secure communication channel. I've contacted human rights groups on 12 different worlds. The story is spreading. Faster than either government can control it. People are calling Hana a symbol of the right to love and choose. Meanwhile, in a hidden chamber 3 levels below the main embassy, Hana paces frantically. For the first time in her life, she's experiencing pure terror. Her crystalline skin flickers between dim grey and bright orange, a visual display of the fear and anger warring inside her. They want to kill me early, she tells Ji-hoon when he arrives through a maintenance shaft. Not because I'm dying, but because I'm living. Ji-hoon takes her hands, feeling the tremor of fear running through her crystalline structure. We won't let that happen. How can you promise that? Hana asks, her voice breaking. Your own people have turned against you. You're risking everything for someone who has only 6 days left to live. Because those 6 days matter, Ji-hoon says fiercely. Because what you're experiencing, this fear, this anger, this hope, it's what makes life worth living. And because... He stops, suddenly realizing the truth of his own words. Because what? Hana whispers. Because I love you, Ji-hoon admits. Not as an experiment or a diplomatic mission. I love you as a person, as someone who's taught me to see wonder in the universe again. Hana's skin erupts in brilliant golden light, so bright that Ji-hoon has to shield his eyes. When the glow settles, tears, actual crystalline tears, are streaming down her face. Is this what love feels like? She asks. Like my entire being is resonating with yours? Part of it, Ji-hoon says, wiping away her crystal tears. The other part is being willing to fight for each other. Above them, security teams search the embassy while news crews gather outside. Both governments issue statements about the unfortunate situation and the need to protect public safety. But in the hidden depths of the embassy, 2 beings from different worlds discover that love isn't just an emotion. It's the most powerful force in the universe, and they're about to prove it to 2 civilizations that have forgotten what it means to truly feel. In a makeshift laboratory hidden in the embassy's abandoned research wing, Dr. Minji stares at her computer screen in complete disbelief. She's been analyzing Hana's cellular samples for the past 18 hours straight, running test after test, and the results keep showing the same impossible thing. This can't be right, she mutters, rubbing her tired eyes. Run the analysis again. The computer chirps softly as it processes the data for the 5th time. The results remain unchanged. Ji-hoon, you need to see this, she calls through the secure communicator. 20 minutes later, Ji-hoon arrives through the ventilation system, followed by Hana, who moves like a living prism in the dim laboratory lighting. They've been hiding for 2 days now, constantly moving between different sections of the embassy to avoid security patrols. What did you find? Ji-hoon asks, his voice tense with exhaustion and hope. Dr. Minji pulls up a holographic display showing Hana's cellular structure. Look at these readings from 3 weeks ago before you 2 started meeting. The display shows crystalline cells that are cracked and deteriorating. Their once perfect geometric patterns breaking down into chaotic fragments. Now look at yesterday's samples, Minji continues, switching to a new image. Hana gasps. Her crystalline. Cells are still damaged, but they're actively repairing themselves. The cracks are filling in with new crystal growth, and the cellular patterns are becoming more complex and beautiful than before. I don't understand, Hana says, studying her own cellular structure with scientific fascination. The genetic degradation should be accelerating, not reversing. That's what I thought too, Dr. Minji explains excitedly, but then I started analyzing what's different in your biochemistry now versus 3 weeks ago, and I found something incredible. She pulls up a new chart showing various chemical compounds. When humans experience emotional bonding, love, affection, physical touch, our brains release specific chemicals, oxytocin, endorphins, dopamine. I found traces of these same compounds in your system. But that's impossible, Hana protests. Veltar physiology doesn't produce those chemicals. You're right, it doesn't, Minji agrees. But somehow through your emotional connection with Ji-hoon, your crystalline structure is learning to synthesize them. And here's the amazing part. These human emotional compounds are acting like a healing catalyst for your cellular matrix. Ji-hoon stares at the data, his mind racing. You're saying that human emotions are actually curing her? Not curing exactly, but stabilizing and strengthening her cellular structure. The very thing the Veltar Council fears as contamination is actually a form of biological enhancement. Dr. Kyung, the rebel Veltar scientist, joins them through another hidden entrance. His crystalline skin flickers with excitement as he reviews the data. This explains everything, he says. Thousands of years ago, our species suppressed emotions because we thought they made us weak. But what if we were wrong? What if emotions were actually the next step in our evolution? Hana sinks into a chair, overwhelmed by the implications. You're saying I could live? Theoretically, yes, Dr. Minji says carefully, but it would require a completely experimental treatment. We'd need to artificially stimulate massive production of these emotional compounds while simultaneously restructuring your crystalline matrix. It's never been attempted before. What are the risks, Ji-hoon asks. Dr. Kyung's glow dims. Complete cellular collapse, neurological shutdown, transformation into something that's neither human nor Veltar. Or worse, the process could trigger an emotional cascade that destroys her consciousness entirely. And if I don't try the treatment? Hana asks quietly. 4 days, Dr. Minji says softly. Maybe 5 if we're lucky. The laboratory falls silent, except for the hum of equipment. Hana stares at her hands, watching the subtle light patterns that dance across her crystalline skin, patterns that have grown more complex and beautiful since she learned to feel. There's something else, Dr. Kyung adds hesitantly. If the treatment works, you won't be the same. The emotional enhancement would be permanent. You'd never be able to return to traditional Veltar emotional suppression, and if other Veltar are exposed to you after the treatment, they might start developing emotions too, Dr. Minji explains. You could trigger an evolutionary change in your entire species. Ji-hoon takes Hana's hand, feeling the familiar warmth that spreads between them. The choice is yours, Hana. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. Hana looks around the room at the faces of people who've risked everything to give her this chance. Humans and Veltar working together, breaking the rules of both species for the sake of love and discovery. My whole life, I've been a scientist, she says slowly. I've always believed that the pursuit of knowledge, no matter how dangerous, is worth the risk. But this isn't just about me anymore, is it? No, Dr. Kyung confirms. This could change the future of both our species. Hana closes her eyes, feeling the emotions flowing through her like a river of light. Fear wars with hope, uncertainty battles with determination. For the first time in her life, she has to make a choice based not on logic, but on faith. The future of 2 civilizations hangs in the balance of her decision. Hana stands at the window of the hidden laboratory, watching security teams patrol the embassy grounds below. Her crystalline skin pulses with a mixture of fear and determination that creates shifting patterns of blue and gold light across her surface. I've made my decision, she announces. turning to face the small group of scientists and rebels who have become her unlikely family. Dr. Minji looks up from her equipment preparations, hope and worry warring in her expression. "And I'm going to do it," Hana says firmly. "Not because I'm afraid to die, but because this discovery is bigger than my life. If there's even a chance that emotions can heal instead of harm, our species need to know." Dr. Kyung's crystalline form flickers with admiration. "The Council will call you a traitor to everything, Veltar." "Maybe," Hana replies, "but someone has to be brave enough to prove they're wrong." Jihoon steps forward, taking her hands in his. "Are you sure? Once we start this, there's no going back." Hana's skin brightens with warm light as she looks into his eyes. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life, but Jihoon, I need you to understand what this means for you too." Dr. Minji clears her throat uncomfortably. "The procedure requires constant emotional and physical contact throughout the entire process. Jihoon, you'll need to maintain direct skin contact with Hana while we restructure her cellular matrix. The pain she experiences, you'll feel through your neural link. It could last for hours." "How much pain?" Jihoon asks. "Imagine every cell in your body being torn apart and rebuilt," Dr. Kyung explains bluntly. "Now multiply that by the fact that Veltar nervous systems are far more sensitive than human ones." Jihoon doesn't hesitate. "I'm not leaving her. The preparation takes 6 hours. They have to work in complete secrecy, using portable equipment and jerry-rigged medical devices. Dr. Minji creates a makeshift surgical chamber in the laboratory center, while Dr. Kyung calibrates Veltar bioscanners to monitor Hana's cellular changes in real time. "The embassy security is closing in," reports Hyun, one of the human technicians monitoring communications. "They've figured out we're in the research wing. We have maybe 2 hours before they find us." "That should be enough," Dr. Minji says, though her voice carries uncertainty. In theory, as Hana lies down on the medical table, her skin begins to flicker with nervous energy. Jihoon positions himself beside her, their hands intertwined, while Dr. Minji attaches various monitoring devices to both of them. "The neural link will form automatically once we begin," Dr. Kyung explains. "Your emotional bond is already strong, so enough to bridge your nervous systems. But Jihoon, when the pain starts, your instinct will be to pull away. You must resist that urge." "I understand," Jihoon says, though his jaw is tight with apprehension. Dr. Minji initiates the first phase of the treatment. Immediately, Hana's body begins to convulse, as waves of energy course through her crystalline structure. Her skin shifts from its normal, transparent beauty to an angry red glow. Jihoon gasps as the pain hits him like a physical blow. It feels like electricity racing through his veins, followed by a crushing sensation in his chest. But he holds on to Hana's hand, feeling her grip tighten desperately. "Stage 1 complete," Dr. Minji announces. "Beginning cellular restructuring." The real agony begins. Hana's crystalline body starts to crack and reform, her very molecular structure breaking down and rebuilding itself. Through their neural link, Jihoon experiences every moment of the transformation. His vision blurs with tears, and he tastes blood from biting his lip, but he never lets go. "Talk to her," Dr. Kyung urges. "Your emotional connection is what's powering the healing process." Through gritted teeth, Jihoon begins to speak. "Remember our first walk in the garden? You asked me why humans waste time looking at flowers. Do you remember what I said?" Hana's voice comes out as a crystalline whisper. "Because beauty doesn't need a purpose." "That's right," Jihoon continues, his own voice strained with shared pain. "Just like this love we found doesn't need a logical reason. It just is." Hours pass in a blur of agony and determination. Security teams pound on the laboratory doors. Sparks fly from overloaded equipment. But in the center of the chaos, two beings from different worlds hold on to each other and refuse to let go. Finally, as the first rays of dawn filter through the laboratory windows, the pain begins to subside. Hana's crystalline skin settles into a new pattern, still recognizably Veltar, but now shot through with veins of golden light that pulse in rhythm with Jihoon's heartbeat. "It's working," Dr. Minji whispers in amazement. Her cellular structure is stabilizing, but their celebration is cut short by the sound of security forces breaking through the laboratory doors. Security forces flood into the laboratory with weapons drawn, but they stop in their tracks when they see Hana. She's sitting up on the medical table, her crystalline skin now displaying patterns unlike anything anyone has ever witnessed. Golden veins of light pulse through her transparent body like a living circuit board, and her eyes glow with a warm amber radiance that seems almost hypnotic. "Stand down," Ambassador Chen orders as she enters behind the security team. Medical emergency protocols are in effect. Dr. Minji quickly checks Hana's vital signs while Jihoon helps her sit up. "The cellular degradation has stopped completely," she announces with wonder. "Not just stopped, it's reversing. Her crystalline matrix is actually stronger than it was before she got sick." Hana flexes her fingers, watching the golden light dance beneath her skin. "I can feel everything," she whispers. "Not just my own emotions, but..." Jihoon's heartbeat, Dr. Minji's excitement, even the fear from the security guards. It's like I'm connected to every living consciousness around me. Elder Zenth materializes as a hologram, his crystalline form flickering with barely controlled rage. "What have you done to her? She's become some kind of abomination." "I've become what we were always meant to be," Hana replies, standing with newfound grace. As she speaks, something extraordinary happens. Her golden light begins to pulse outward, in gentle waves. Dr. Kyung, who's been standing nearby, suddenly staggers. His own crystalline skin begins to shimmer with faint traces of color. I feel something," he says in amazement. "Something I've never felt before. It's like warmth, spreading through my consciousness." "Contamination," Elder Zenth shouts. "She's spreading the emotional virus." But Dr. Kyung isn't showing signs of illness. Instead, he looks more alive than ever. Tears, actual crystalline tears, begin forming in his eyes as he experiences his first moment of genuine joy. "It's not contamination," Hana says gently. "It's awakening." Over the following days, news of Hana's transformation spreads throughout both human and Veltar space. The embassy becomes a gathering point for scientists, philosophers, and curious observers from dozens of worlds. And something incredible begins to happen. Every Veltar who comes within 50 meters of Hana starts to change. The transformation is subtle at first, a slight shift in the light patterns of their skin, a new expressiveness in their voices. But gradually, they begin to experience emotions they've never felt before. Dr. Yuna, a Veltar physicist who arrives to study Hana, finds herself laughing for the first time in her 200-year life when Jihoon tells a simple joke. "The sound I'm making," she says in wonder. "It serves no logical function, yet it feels delightful." A young Veltar diplomat named Seung discovers the concept of friendship when he bonds with a human colleague over their shared love of quantum mathematics. "We're not exchanging information," he observes with fascination. "We're sharing joy and discovery. This is far more efficient than I expected." The Veltar Council panics. They issue emergency quarantine orders, demanding that no Veltar be allowed near Hana. But it's too late. The emotional awakening spreads like ripples in a pond, carried by the Veltar who return to their homeworld changed forever. "You have to understand," Hana explains to a gathering of reporters and scientists. "We didn't lose our logical abilities. We enhanced them. Emotions don't cloud judgment. They provide context. They help us understand why logic matters in the first place." Jihoon watches from the audience, his heart swelling with pride and love. Hana has become something extraordinary, a bridge between worlds, a living proof that evolution doesn't have to mean abandoning what you were, but growing into what you could become. "My species spent millennia believing that emotions made us weak," Hana continues, her golden light pulsing with conviction. "But we were wrong. Emotions make us complete. They give meaning to our logic, purpose to our knowledge, and depth to our existence." In the audience, 3 more Veltar scientists begin to glow with their own faint traces of color as they experience their first moments of wonder and hope. The transformation has begun, and there's no stopping it now. 6 months after Hana's transformation, the old Veltar embassy has been completely renovated. Where sterile white corridors once echoed with the cold logic of crystalline beings, warm spaces now buzz with laughter, conversation, and the gentle chiming sounds of Veltar, experiencing joy for the first time. Hana stands in the central courtyard of what is now called the Interspecies Emotional Research Institute, watching as human children play with young Veltar in the garden. The sight still amazes her. Crystalline beings who once viewed physical contact as inefficient now chase human toddlers around flower beds, their skin glowing with delight. The quarterly reports are in, Jihoon says, approaching with a data pad and a cup of tea. 17 more worlds have requested partnership programs. The Altarian Empire wants to send a delegation next month. Hana accepts the tea, marveling as she always does at how such a simple gesture, sharing a warm drink, can create feelings of connection and comfort. Any word from the Veltar homeworld? Jihoon's expression grows complicated. Mixed results. The younger generation is embracing the changes faster than anyone expected, but the Elder Council still considers you a dangerous revolutionary. Revolution isn't always a bad thing, Hana replies, watching as Dr. Kyung teaches a group of human and Veltar children about crystal harmonics. His own transformation has been remarkable. The once rigid scientist now incorporates music and art into his physics lessons, claiming that beauty enhances understanding. In the Institute's main laboratory, Dr. Minji works alongside Veltar researchers to study the emotional awakening phenomenon. They've discovered that the change isn't limited to Hana's direct influence. Veltar who've been emotionally awakened can gradually awaken others, creating a gentle cascade of consciousness expansion across their species. We're calling it empathic evolution, Dr. Minji explains to a group of visiting scientists. The ability to experience and share emotions appears to be a dormant trait in Veltar DNA, suppressed for millennia, but never actually lost. The real breakthrough came when they realized the process worked in reverse too. Humans working closely with Veltar began developing enhanced logical processing abilities and improved pattern recognition. The emotional exchange was creating hybrid thinking in both species. We're not losing our humanity, explains Dr. Yon, a human psychologist who now thinks with crystalline clarity while retaining her emotional depth. We're becoming more than human, and the Veltar aren't losing their logic. They're becoming more than purely logical beings. The Institute has become a symbol of what's possible when species choose cooperation over isolation. The Zephyrian Empire, once known for their aggressive expansion, sent diplomats to learn about peaceful coexistence through emotional understanding. The machine-like Signans, who had never comprehended organic emotions, are now working to develop artificial emotional processing systems. In the evening, Hana and Jihoon walk through the Institute's halls, checking on various research projects. In one room, Veltar artists work with human painters to create art that combines logical precision with emotional expression. In another, mixed species teams tackle complex engineering problems by blending intuitive human creativity with Veltar analytical perfection. Do you ever regret it? Jihoon asks as they reach their shared quarters. Giving up your old life, changing your entire species? Hana considers the question seriously, her golden-veined skin pulsing thoughtfully. I didn't give up my old life, she says finally. I completed it. Everything I was before, the scientist, the researcher, the seeker of truth, is still here. But now I understand why truth matters. She takes his hand, feeling the familiar warmth of their connection. For centuries, my people pursued knowledge without wisdom, logic without purpose. We thought emotions would make us weak, but they made us complete. And now, Jihoon prompts. Hana smiles, an expression that still causes her skin to glow with inner light. Now we're teaching the galaxy that the universe isn't just something to be understood, it's something to be loved. And love, it turns out, is the most powerful force for change in existence. Outside their window, the stars shine down on a world where two species have learned to share not just knowledge, but hearts, where a dying wish became a living dream, where humanity's greatest gift, the ability to love without limits, has sparked an evolution that will ripple across the cosmos for generations to come. The Institute's motto, carved in both human letters and Veltar crystal patterns above the main entrance, reads simply, "Love transcends all boundaries." And in a universe full of wonders, perhaps the greatest wonder of all is that it's true. Reva.